Oh, a bump in the night, a bump in the night, a bump in the. You remember that song?
Nope, but I enjoyed it. Do it again.
A bump in the night, a bump in the night, a bump in the.
I don't know what that is.
What's happening?
I'll have to find it and play it for you guys at the end of the episode, because when I was in college, it was like this spooky, like avant-garde film, and it's always been in my head.
I like it.
Yeah. There's way more to the song, but I can't remember it right now.
I just leave it at that.
Hey guys, welcome to the Real Awkward Podcast, the best damn podcast you heard today. My name is Andy.
I'm Amanda.
I'm Ashley.
And welcome to our spooky series. A bubble the night, a bubble the night, a bubble the.
What are you saying? Are you saying pop? Are you saying Papa Midnight?
Bump in the night.
Oh, it sounds like you're saying. It sounds Papa Midnight. Papa Midnight. Papa Midnight.
I like Papa Midnight better. That sounds like a dirty character. Papa Midnight.
I'm like, what the fuck? What is happening?
You guys clicked on the episode. Hopefully you guys are having a wonderful October. Spooky season is upon us. And ladies, I've got some deep, dark questions for you.
For the record, if there was a movie called Papa Midnight, I would not.
I'm watching Papa Midnight.
I would not watch
That's
that.
my wrestling name.
In my mind, and then you come out, you're like, Papa Midnight. So in my mind, Papa Midnight is a movie about like a voodoo priest.
Yeah.
Yeah, why is it a priest in my head?
Dude, I
don't
just
know.
I
It's
just
like
think
father, but it's like, call me Papa.
I just think of a pimp. Just like, yo, ladies, call me Papa Midnight. Give me my money.
Yeah, but I don't imagine a pimp going, Papa Midnight.
Okay, so I've got some dark questions for you. I don't even know if either of you are prepared
I don't even know if you've actually read the questions.
to answer these questions.
I don't know if you just found a questionnaire on the internet. And
I
you're just gonna
did.
read it off.
As always, I go to the direct source of Joogle. Let's just talk about some very uncomfortable things, okay?
Okay.
We're going to come out swinging, and then we know our audience will go running, and you guys will understand what type of episode this is. So,
Okay.
question for both of you. How long does it take the human body to lose enough heat that sexual intercourse with the corpse becomes unpleasant?
Are you asking like if we know the answer, or are you asking like
I'm
what our preference would be?
legitimately,
Well, it's
what
more
do
of a
you
preference
think
question.
would happen? I think a lot of these will be preferences because we won't have direct accounts. What's going on?
There is scientific evidence to how long it takes for a corpse to cool down, but at what
Yeah.
point is it uncomfortable?
Yeah.
I
And
mean-
is it uncomfortable? I mean, it's like a dirty clam.
Yuck.
Yuck.
I mean, I feel like more than the temperature, the rigor mortis setting in would make things difficult.
Wouldn't that make things more stiff?
It would feel more corpse-like, I feel.
Yeah, more like a doll. Like a
Amanda's face right now.
I love Amanda's face. She's like, what the fuck is happening right now?
Well, and it's funny because I was gonna say like I don't have any problem with difficult topics as long as they aren't like feelings or sex. And then now I'm like, oh great,
I came out of the gate swinging.
my kryptonite.
Now- No, go ahead.
I think for me, like, because I am not, I don't like to talk about myself. I do not prefer when, even if like Chris and I are just like laying in bed watching TV, if he's hot, I'm like, get away from me. Like, I can't handle it. So, like, the
So you like
idea
a
of
little
someone,
chill.
yeah, the idea of someone being a little cold, I'm like, I wouldn't hate that. But it like, but the idea of they're like dead, I'm like, that would be a problem for me. But if it was like a fully animated person who was like 10 degrees cooler than room temp, I don't think I'd have a problem with that.
So your situation is that the person's actually dead. That's the problem you have with it.
Isn't that not your problem?
I think that encompasses the whole problem.
Listen, guys, like I'm super into this right now.
Like if
but
he has
you're
a circulation
dead, so-
problem, if he has a circulation problem, I'm still in. But like if you're dead, I just can't get into
like
it.
that's the deal breaker. Like, listen,
You're a
I'm a
fucking
little chilly
corpse.
at night. That's okay.
Yeah.
But if you're dead,
fine.
that crosses the line.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. So, not to make this even more awkward, but we are on two different sides here because I would imagine as the man, this is the one time that you're trying to figure stuff out where with a girl, you essentially, and the guy is in pure rigor mortis, right? You're good to go. Where I think where the guy's like,
Why do you
a little
assume
chilly.
that if I guess I wouldn't assume that if a male was in rigor mortis that he somehow became
He's like, ba ba
fully
ba.
prepared. I don't think that's
He
the
would have to
scenario.
die sexually
Well, it's
aroused.
more-
That would be the only
yeah.
way.
Well,
Yeah.
rigor mortis is more about like your muscles stiffening.
Yeah.
So hypothetically, that could happen, but like I don't think it would be to where you're like, oh, now let's get down to business.
He's like, let's sit
I
on this
don't think-
popsicle.
Because there's
Yeah,
no
I
blood flow.
Right?
Yeah.
All right.
I mean, I don't know.
I
don't-
imagine it would be no different than like you leaving a piece of steak on the counter. Does that make sense? Like it was like warm and then it just like eventually cools off. I imagine the body would cool that fast.
I'm not doing anything with a piece of steak.
I mean, depends on the person. But listen, I hate to be crass, but like, aren't there already some women who just lay there and do nothing anyway?
Yeah, it's starfish.
So-
It's called starfish. You just sit there. Just lay there and sweat it off.
That you're just cold.
Yeah. Okay, question. That was a good one. We started right.
Great.
So, I don't know if it's illegal or not, but
Sorry. but sleeping with a dead body is just fine.
yeah, we're good on that one.
That we're
Yeah, yeah,
clear
yeah.
about.
Got it.
If it was normalized to throw your dead family members in the backyard, do you think that you would have to disclose that when you're selling a house?
When you say throw them in the backyard,
I mean, like
you
bury.
bury
I do
them.
mean bury.
Okay,
them,
I was gonna
yes.
say like,
I
is
do
there
mean
just
bury-
like a pile, or
It's just
are
a
they
dog
like
pile of dead
churning
bodies.
in the
What's
compost
what's
bin?
that pile
Like,
over there?
Don't worry about that. That's
No-
our compost.
no need to
pile.
disclose.
That's our compost pile.
yeah.
Do you think that it would be a problem? Like if you
Do
bury
you-
your family members in the back?
Do you feel the need to disclose if you buried your dead dog in the backyard?
No, but I imagine like human remains is different. I wonder if there's laws against having human remains in the backyard.
Well, there are. I mean, I think legally you're not allowed to just bury a body in the backyard.
yeah.
But I mean, also at the same time, like, I think if you die, you should be able to be buried where you want to be. I think if my like plan was to like spend eternity in the backyard, I think I would sooner have someone like cremate me and then like spread my ashes or like
Sure.
plant the ashes in a tree, because I think about like when we landscaped our backyard at our first house and we had like a little bulldozer out there and we just like scraped it all off. Could you imagine just like grandpa being there?
Well,
Well,
that
I mean,
That's my take is like, if you hadn't disclosed it, if it was not known
Yeah.
that this property had a body buried in the backyard,
right.
if somebody did dig it up and found it, like that would create a whole issue with like, whose is this? Like now we have to investigate. Like there's this whole
Yeah.
like scare about it.
Right.
So
I think the logistics of it is a problem because I think most people are lazy. They would not go 6 feet under, and it would just be
Absolutely
sitting
not.
sitting a foot under topsoil, and then
And then
I mean,
if heavy rain, you get
Yeah.
a finger
If-
sticking
yeah,
out.
If
and
you're
then all of
trying
a
to do
sudden,
it
yeah.
yourself, but what
Yeah.
about like hiring a grave digger?
I guess you could, but then I think my question is less about how you would do it and more like what is the ramifications of having a dead body in your backyard when
I
it
think
comes
it
like
would
time
really-
to sell the house or something like.
I think it would really, like, legally, I think it would really depend on what the police or the prosecutors wanted to charge you with, because you could be charged with like improper disposal of a body or
that's
possibly
true.
abusing a corpse, depending on like what happened.
Isn't that
That's what
crazy
I'm
that
saying,
that's
like,
a law?
If you did it properly, like if you hired someone or knew like the regulations
Yeah.
for how,
And then,
you know,
but then, is this body you're digging up just a, dead body thrown in a dirt, or is it like, did you go buy a coffin and bury it?
right, that's true
Because-
too.
I think I would be still freaked out, but a little less freaked out if there was like a coffin.
Yeah,
Because
Oh, I
I
see
think
what
I
you
because
would
mean,
be
then
like,
you would know that it wasn't just like this person got murdered and like they
Yeah.
tried to hide it.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah,
you
yeah. I
would
guess I
know.
did. Yeah, you just don't throw grandma in the dirt pit. Yes.
you would know, like,
Toss
I'm
it
not
in.
opening
Like a
this.
doot
Yes.
thud. Jeez. Okay. All right. You guys are pretty good on that one.
We passed.
You guys are pretty good on that one. Okay. Imagine your eye gets ripped out of your socket, but it's still attached. You can still see. What does it look like? Like, do you literally like chameleon style? Would you have like a black bar in the middle of your vision and then you would see like dangling back and forth? Or do you think your body would like protect you and like close that down real fast?
I think your brain would almost take over, and because the idea of, because okay, like just the mechanics of even someone who has a lazy eye,
Yeah.
like you end up having a more dominant eye, and then the eye that tends to wander, it's like blurry, but like
Yeah.
it still kind of connects the image because your brain does the extra work.
Sure.
So if your eye, and and I'm like hypothetically, if your eye was just kind of like just barely hanging out, I think your brain could kind of make the difference. But if it's like dangling on your cheek and like looking kind of down, I feel like your brain would almost like make that so blurry that you're mostly just focusing out of your other eye.
how far down can your eye dangle? Like,
I don't
I don't-
think
long is
I
that
don't think that
connection?
it can remove much more than where it's at in its socket.
It would
'cause
strain that
all the
muscle.
nerves are
That's
there.
why I feel like if it
Yeah.
was truly dangling out,
You think it
I
would
feel like
have
there
no
would
connection?
be so much inflammation around that eye that
Yeah.
it would probably cut off any like ability to use it.
So you would just
I
it'd
agree.
just be dark.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
Or
you
just,
would,
like,
you would
super
lose,
blurry.
Like you would feel like your peripherals are gone.
Does your eye itself have nerves? Or is
No.
it just the ducts around your eye that hurt when there's like something caught in it?
I think it's the skin.
Like
It's
if
like-
you
no,
press your
it's-
eye when you put a contact in, do you feel it?
No.
So your eyes don't have feelings.
Well,
What if
no,
eyes
no.
had feelings?
No.
I just figured out Pixar's
Pixar.
next movie.
Pixar.
So when I will tell you this:
What?
if I touch the white part,
Yeah.
I don't feel it.
You can or can't?
No.
Okay.
If I touch like the pupil or the iris, I feel that.
Interesting. Do you feel the pressure though of it pushing
so
back to the muscle?
If I think that if I think that my contact is loose, I touch like my iris or my
Yeah.
pupil, and if it's sensitive, I know my contact's not there.
Oh, so you do have feeling in it then?
Yeah, but it doesn't feel like pressure all the way back.
Do you think the eye actually being held out would have any pain?
I feel like the strain of that muscle would be painful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like you'd have more pain due to your eye socket would have had to have experienced trauma
Yeah,
to
that
no
makes
longer
sense.
have your eye in it.
Exactly. So I saw a TikTok of a woman who was having a lot of problems, and she went to the doctor, and it turned out that her eyes were like seeing two different things.
What is
And
it?
it was
Explain.
like-
Like chameleon style?
They weren't working together.
Okay, sure.
And she would get like dizziness and like weird headaches. And
Yeah.
like she would turn her head and she would instantly like get dizzy because to immediately try to focus, but your eyes are focusing on different things. It
Yeah.
would just like create this whole like crazy dizzy spells and what. She had a bunch of other symptoms
It
too.
creeps
But like
me
that's
out.
what I think would happen is you would get really dizzy.
It creeps
Yeah.
me out that your eye creates it fills in the image of stuff. So like you guys know that test where it's like a little X on like the right side, like lower right side, and if you look a little to the left of it, the X will disappear. Like a white piece of paper, and you draw a small little X on the piece of paper. And if you grab that paper, have it centered to your face, and you move it to the right just a little bit, still looking forward, the X will disappear because that specific part of your eye has no nerve or no visual connection to the brain. So there's a spot, and it's not dark though. When the X goes away, it just disappears.
Because it's not important.
Because your brain fills it in. So I don't think that you would actually see darkness. I think that you would see how Amanda kind of describes it.
Is
You
it-
would see everything and then just,
Is it kind of like when you lose a limb and you can like still feel
yeah, like
it?
Phantom.
Yeah.
So I think
Yeah.
Amanda's right. I think your brain would create some kind of hazy image as it tries to connect what it's looking at here versus the other side.
Well, I mean, if you think about the fact that, people have two eyes that work normally,
Yeah.
your brain filters out your nose.
Right. Yeah, because
Yeah.
you can always see that's fucking crazy, by the way. Like to know that if you look down, you can see your nose all the time, but that you should still be able to see it underneath your, I guess peripheral, I always think of left and right, but I'm going to talk about it as up and down. It's right there. Your nose is right there, and you literally, it just disappears in your average day.
Yeah,
That's
it's like
crazy.
If you pay attention to it, you
Right.
can see
Yeah.
it. But if you're just living day to day, same with like someone who wears glasses all the time, like I don't pay attention to the fact that I can like see this. I can see this if I pay attention to it, but I'm not looking for it.
But
Dude.
that takes a long time.
If
Yes,
you
it does.
close one eye, you can easily see your nose. I mean, you move back and forth, you can see your nose following you. But then
Just go cross-eyed. You
if
can
you
see the fucking nose.
you see both noses,
Both
Yeah.
noses. Andy's got two of them.
both of them. Okay, so the answer to that question, your
Is we
eye
don't
falls
know.
out of your socket. You guys imagine that it will, yes, be painful, but then we're not sure about what the vision looks like.
Well, and I
Sure.
don't know, like with one eye, how far the vision on the other eye would go as far as peripheral.
That's fair.
I mean, your nose is kind of in the way, but
That's fair.
I think I feel like it would be like, let's just say this eye was still vision, and then like just this half of my vision would be like blurry.
Okay, got it.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Got it.
That's what I would assume.
What do you ladies feel or guess what human flesh would taste like?
Apparently, it's supposed to taste like pork.
That's what I heard. That it's supposed to taste like pork and less like chicken.
I've never thought of it, but this conversation is, I'm immediately nauseous.
Now, granted, we don't eat it raw, right? So let's assume we
No.
cooked it. Let's assume
Yeah.
we cooked it. So there's a guy who wanted to
The
know.
look on Ashley's face right
Dude,
now.
I'm literally like nauseous.
So there's a
Like,
guy.
This is making me sick.
This is a
Think about
story. This is
Really?
a story that apparently happened. There's a guy that was interested in what human flesh tastes like. He wasn't like innately a cannibal, but he had to have his leg amputated. So he took the leg home and he cooked it up and ate his own leg and said that it tasted like pork. That was like
Well, I
the
mean-
texture.
I hate to be that person, but like everybody bites off their hangnails and probably doesn't spit it out. Like, I mean,
Yeah, I mean,
like,
that's skin and
you ever
stuff,
like,
but like,
you ever like bite the skin off your lips? Like, we've all eaten it, right? Like
that's what. Yeah, but I
don't know,
I
like
get
a
that
chunk
it's
of
not
it.
the same
There's
thing.
no animal. Like lifelong meat eater. There was no animal where I want to eat the skin.
But you
No.
do. You eat the skin of a chicken.
I don't prefer to.
Okay.
That's
So
my
you
thing.
like to rip off the skin.
Especially the thought of it raw
Yeah.
makes me gag.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like a the idea to me of like the idea to me of like, okay, if I was ever in a situation where it was like either I eat this or die, like I could not look at the skin. I'd have to be like, give me the meat from underneath. Cuz like if you eat a steak, you're not eating cowhide with it.
No.
Like,
right. Yeah, you're not chunks of
eating-
hair and skin.
No,
Yeah.
you're not eating pork skin.
Right.
Like, now if you want to do that, that's something that's prepared differently. But like, yeah, like, I mean, realistically speaking, humans are meat, and if it was cut and properly cut, and removed of all the fat and stuff, it would hypothetically it would just look like a piece of like lean meat.
I imagine
And-
we are less like cows though and more like pigs. That makes sense
Yeah.
to me.
Yeah.
Yes.
I would assume our meat would look like rabbit meat.
Rabbit
Like,
meat.
I don't know why. I don't know why. But like look like it.
Yeah.
But then if it was cooked and stuff, like I mean, like I'm not saying I don't want to add it into my diet, but like if you
Not
were
gonna
one
try
of those,
human soon.
if you were like stranded and that was your only way to survive, like you do what you got to do.
So funny enough is we're talking about the meat of the human, but because so many people are tattooed now, I wonder if that would spoil the meat, because imagine cooking with the ink that's inside your skin.
Well, according to Jeffrey Dahmer, it changes the flavor.
It changes the flavor.
Yes.
That's gross. That's gross.
Yeah.
I imagine you would. I've never tasted like a pin or
You
anything
need
like
a
that.
pure skin.
But yes, it has to be
Only the finest.
only the finest here.
But,
Bull's
I
meat.
mean, but you also got to think about it this way, like okay, so cows, for instance,
yes.
the cows that are raised in like grass fed cows, that meat is supposed to taste better.
Yeah.
So like animals who are scavengers and stuff, who eat a lot of garbage or whatever, their meat hypothetically would not taste very good because their diet consists of not good food.
And we eat
So,
a lot
like,
of garbage.
I mean, yeah. So, I mean, I'm sure, like, especially like the average American, their meat is probably fatty and ill flavored.
I mean, our
'Cause we
diet
have-
is probably closer to that of a pig's than any other animal.
Well, and especially
you're
with all
probably
the
right.
chemicals,
We're slop. We eat
Well,
slop.
like with all the chemicals we intake, even just medicines
Yeah.
and like
So don't
all
eat,
the
don't
stuff.
eat humans, guys. Don't.
No,
we're
If
we're
offered
tainted.
the opportunity to try it, would you?
No.
You
No.
wouldn't try human?
No.
No.
I don't think I would.
Who is it and why? Like, what? How did they end up?
You're like, I have so many questions. It's funny too, because when I eat a burger, I'm not like, was the cow's name Ed? Like, where did he come from?
Well, I don't think I could ever eat human flesh
Yeah.
like casually. It would have to be like I'm going to die.
Is there a
Like,
reason? I know this is so awful, but is there a
you
reason?
want to try it?
Is there a reason we don't offer? You know how we offer our organs at death and like you can do whatever you want with my body? Why are humans not like, yeah, send me to the slaughterhouse and feed some people? Like, why is that not a thing?
I think as humans, we aren't to that point of food scarcity
That
where
makes
needs
sense.
to happen.
I think it's more emotionally driven for us.
Well, I wonder if there's
Yeah.
a biological component where we don't taste good to ourselves.
Probably so that therefore we don't eat each other.
Therefore, we are not cannibals.
Yes. No, I am not. Let me clarify on this podcast. I am not a cannibal, but damn it, would I try if someone gave me a little piece of
But
meat.
damn
and
it, you throw some barbecue sauce on it, it might
If
be
you don't
interesting.
tell me what it is,
yeah, and someone's like, this is Alex, and then just hands it to me, and I'm like, well, okay.
Well, I mean, it's
A
one
little
of those
You have
fatty.
to have another name. You know how like a cow comes in beef, the form of beef.
Yes.
You have to have a different name for man meat.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yes, you gotta think about it this way though. Like, I mean,
Pete.
let's say you go and you get a steak. It doesn't look like a body part, like a piece of meat.
Correct. Yes.
But then if you were to go and order, like, I want the baby back ribs, like,
oh God, and it's just a dead baby on a plate.
no, I'm not saying babies. I'm
Oh, you
saying
took
like,
that. You took
I
that.
took
I'm
that
saying,
wrong.
I hear
took
it. I
that
hear it. I hear
wrong.
it. I'm saying like, if you go to a restaurant and you order a piece of meat or
Yes.
even chicken, whatever,
Yes.
it just looks like food. But if you order like, I want the rib plate,
Yes.
that
Yeah.
looks like an animal part.
It does.
on
it
your
does.
plate.
It
Yeah.
does. Yes, I get that. I would
So-
like the baby fingers, please.
Right? It's like,
Gross.
and can you tell me if he had a good life or a bad life?
Yeah.
Like
I want to. Was he grass fed or,
right? And it's like sometimes even like drumsticks and chicken wings and stuff. I'm like, ugh. Like,
All right,
you
so
get
let's
that
take
little
this
bit
a
of, like,
step
ugh.
further. What do y'all taste like? what flavors are you giving people? Because I'm telling you right now, Captain Crunch and Taco Bell is what my meat's gonna taste like.
I was gonna say like realistically, we all taste bitter and like
Salty.
probably fatty
Yeah.
and gross.
I bet we are.
Like,
gross.
but like comically, I taste like popcorn and Baja Blast. Like, I mean,
Yes. What y'all I already know the title of this one is what do you personally taste like? That's so gross.
what's your flavor?
What?
What's your flavor?
What you got, Ash?
I have to go with coffee.
Yes.
And refried beans.
Yeah.
Gross. Together those. Oh, gross.
Blech.
Gross. No,
I
I'm
love that
definitely-
idea, though.
No, I'm gonna change mine. What did I say at first?
Captain
You said
Crunch.
No, it's not Captain Crunch.
and Taco Bell.
No.
You're straight up cheese.
Dude, but cheese and cherry Coke. Yes. Okay. Next, God, that was funny. Next horrible question.
Okay.
Would you rather only have sex with old people or not have sex ever
Okay,
again?
Amanda already said sex questions are off the table. You snuck one in there.
I'm just gonna answer the question. Never again. Like, that's not.
Now the question is why? What's wrong?
Now,
Old people
the
don't
real
do it for
question
you?
is, Andy, what's your answer?
Yeah.
Oh, come on. I mean, you got to find one. There's got to be one that ain't too bad, right? Like Helen Mirren, let's get going. Let's do this thing. I
Helen
got you. Mirren, sorry.
Who says you get
Yeah,
to
but okay.
pick?
Oh, well, if you don't get a pick,
Yeah.
then what? I get like the lady from The Visit or something?
Yes.
Or worse?
Kathy Bates, I'm out. Yeah, so Amanda says none. What do you say?
None.
Oh, geez, man. I can't devoid myself of pleasure.
But see, that's man versus woman. A woman is
Exactly.
like, I'm good, and a man's like, I have needs.
Where's the crypt keeper? I have needs. Okay, so this one's very morbid, okay? Have you guys ever fallen like 3-4 feet before? Well, Amanda fell down the stairs recently.
I fell down
so-
the goddamn stairs.
There was that. But you haven't fallen from a high place, like onto the ground or anything, right? Like off a tree or anything like that when you were a kid?
I probably fell off something higher up when I was a kid, but never like, if I fell out of a tree, it was a couple feet, maybe not like way high.
Never hurt yourself. What about
No.
you? Did you ever have a huge fall? Okay, so I imagine if someone falls, that it's kind of just like a thud, right, down. What do you guys think happens when someone jumps off a building? Like to the concrete or to the ground? Do they
It's like a splat.
Do they bounce? Or is it
No.
literally just like explosion of blood and clothes? Like what
I don't think-
like what happens?
I don't assume it's like an explosion, but like, you know how like when you accidentally drop an egg on the ground and like the egg cracks and then like the yolk just kind of like, and like the inside of the egg just like,
Oh, like that's the head?
I would assume,
no.
well, no, I would assume that's just what your whole body does. Like, I mean, there's no way that your organs, depending on how high up you are, your organs and like the soft stuff would probably almost always somewhat like just liquefy on impact.
Yeah.
Just the force alone. I would assume and almost all of your bones would probably break.
Well, I imagine that, yes, every bone would crack, right? Your skull would split. You'd have contusions all over your body. But I do wonder, like, is it cartoon where, like, your body goes, I mean, gravity alone, right? Your body would have to, like, go flat and then bounce back a little bit. And I wonder if that's what breaks the skin or the bones, that pressure.
I don't assume there's as much of a bounce back as you think there is.
Right.
I
So
think
it's more just a
being like
is down.
I think instead of it being like,
yeah.
I think it's like,
yeah.
like-
So more like a pancake hitting a,
Yeah.
right?
yeah.
Is that how you imagine it, Ash?
Yeah. I'm trying really hard to imagine, like, does the rest of your body, do all parts of your body fall at the same rate? But you're fully contained, right?
Yeah.
So I feel like when you splat, you would still be fully contained. I don't feel like you would explode like Andy said. I don't know. I feel like, yeah, everything, like you said, like the organs would splat and your bones would break, but I feel like you would still be fully intact. You might not just be in like starfish shape.
Yeah, I agree. I think it would be like a splat, but it's like still contained.
Yeah, that's what I imagine. What's the answer, Andy?
I don't know, but I guess, well, I don't know because I think
I don't know.
Well, we all imagine a body falls like a starfish, but I imagine lots of bodies you fall either feet or head first. Like,
I honestly, every time that there's a scenario where there's like in a movie or something where like somebody's going to jump, or like somebody falling from a plane where it's not like, your parachute doesn't come out or something like that. Like, what does that feel like to be falling through the air, and how fast does it feel as compared to how fast it really is? Like,
well, you have no point of reference, right?
But I don't even mean like speed. I mean like time. Do you know what I mean?
Like how long you're in the air knowing you're going to die?
Yeah. Like, are there thoughts going through your head? Are you like panicking? Are you like, oh my God? Or is it just like your mind's blank? Like you don't know what's happening? Like
So I have been told that, I've been told, that's not what I meant. I've been, many people that have died have told me that you can survive falling without a parachute. So there's terminal velocity, right? Like you can only fall so fast. Eventually you're not pulled to the ground any faster. Like you don't gain speed. Like eventually there's a pinpoint, but if you go feet first and you do your best to go feet first and you do your best to like bend your knees at the same time that you're falling, you would
falling or landing.
Well, I mean, you're still falling, but yes, at landing. Sorry, at landing. You can slow yourself down by spreading your arms out and your legs out, right? Like it'll actually slow you down quite a bit. But on the landing, you're supposed to go feet first and give yourself just a little bit of bend in the knee if it's possible. And as you fall, you will break every single leg bone, every single hip bone, and fracture ribs and internal organs. But the impact should stop everything and not hurt your heart or your head if you do it right.
So you can still survive. But
You can
I'm talking
still
about
technically
that
survive.
fall.
I imagine it's terrifying, but also like there's no calmness, right? You're probably just screaming the entire time.
But can you scream?
I don't know. I mean, I know some people scream when they skydive, so I imagine you can scream. Now, granted, you got a lot of air blowing at your face. But also, people that are jumping from a building, they don't have skydive time. It's like 3 seconds.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Right? So I don't know. I don't know. What would you do if you were falling?
I don't know.
You just be like, I wonder if I finished that Scrabble puzzle.
But that's exactly what I'm saying. Is I
Yes.
wonder what goes through your head and how quickly your thoughts are processing as you're falling. Like, is there time to calculate? Like, what do I do to like give myself the safest landing? Like, do you have time to process that?
Yeah. Oh, put my legs in front of me.
Yeah. Oh, I remember somebody
we
once
go.
said, if I starfish, it'll slow me down. Then if I bend
No,
my
you just
leg-
be like,
no, exactly.
You're just like, fuck.
I think Amanda's right.
I'd be like,
nothing
this is
goes
it.
through your head. You just be like,
is
no,
it.
no, go, no, fuck, dead. Like,
This is it.
That's it.
This is it. Here we go.
mean, that would be, that would in a way it would be like equal parts horrific, but also kind of okay in a way. Because at least the minute you hit the pavement, it's lights out. Like, lights
Hopefully.
off. Like, yeah, hopefully. Like, because, there's other ways to die that, like, your brain doesn't shut off right away. And, like, hypothetically, the minute you splat, it lights out. Like,
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No. You would go unconscious with that type of trauma to your body, your head.
And you're-
True, you'd at least
you're-
go unconscious.
if you even did survive, your brain would probably, due to the trauma, your brain would probably try to protect you from the memory
yeah.
itself.
That is actually leading into the next question. So,
okay.
Amanda, have you ever broken anything before? Like,
Yes.
Okay. Do you remember it vividly, or are you kind of hazy about it?
I remember it.
Okay, so does Ashley
yeah.
when she broke her foot, but apparently, just like giving childbirth, the body does a really good job of trying to like hide what happened to you and also avoid the pain. So a couple stories, right? The most awful one is a motorcycle accident. Okay. So a guy's traveling down the road, motorcycle, he gets in a car wreck and it splits his body in two. Okay. This person, didn't die on the scene. Okay. They were able to patch him up or whatever. But the description from this motorcyclist is, I didn't feel any pain and I literally like moved on to other things that I wanted to care about. And like the pain was not the issue. And I don't really remember the wreck or the crash. So I'm curious, is the human body really good at...
I think the human brain is very good at protecting
the
us.
brain, I mean, yeah.
But that's also the fact that he felt nothing was probably more due to shock.
Well, and that's what I wonder too. That response from your body
yeah.
is probably what keeps you alive, correct?
Yeah, probably. Because if all of a sudden he's like, "What?" and he could be in more pain.
Right.
And, I don't know. I remember everything from childbirth. So that one, like, I don't really get.
You remember all of your... But you got an epidural, correct?
Nah.
Yeah, but it didn't work.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
But I don't... I never experienced the thing of like, oh, I forgot. It was great.
I want to do it again.
But
Yeah.
I don't know. I know, like, I broke my leg when I was in 5th grade.
Yes.
And so certain things, I don't remember every specific detail just due to lost to time. But the stuff I can't remember isn't because I don't have it. It's just because it's like, oh yeah, I don't remember what the fuck that was. Like, if that makes sense.
I think there's
like
a
it was just so
difference
long ago.
between like, I don't think the human brain remembers physical feelings. I think that it remembers your emotional feeling.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
So like you remember the scenario, you remember how you felt. Like you
Yeah.
remember, feeling a certain way, feeling scared or remembering that you were in pain. But I don't think we can even recollect what the feeling of a certain pain, like physical pain is.
Yeah.
I think you're
Does that
right.
make
yeah.
sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. That does make sense. Do
I
you...
mean, it's why people continue to have kids. It's why people continue to have tattoos. Because you're like, oh, that wasn't so bad.
Right.
Because you can't
You remember
remember
her,
the
or
physical pain.
You remember like, I remember thinking that when they tattooed on my on this part of my arm, that hurt more
Right.
because you had an emotional reaction to it at the time. But I don't think that if you were like, can you feel that pain again? It's like, no, I can't make myself feel a physical pain that's no longer happening.
That's fair. That's fair. So, if you had to cut off one of your own limbs, which one would it be?
Like at what, where, how high up?
What's my option? Like arms
Yeah.
or legs?
So
Yeah.
let's go. Yeah. I mean, we could even be like, if you just had to cut it off at the wrist or something like that too, that's fine. But like, where would you cut it? You only have 4 limbs to choose from, right? So
Left leg.
Why is it the left leg?
Because I'm right-handed and I would want to keep my right leg to be able to drive still.
Oh, okay, that's smart.
And then
okay, that's smart.
I would need both of my arms to just be able to do anything.
Right. Yes.
So hypothetically, if I was missing a leg or a foot, I could still work and drive and make money. But if you're missing an arm, it just provides bigger struggle.
So the question is this, though. How do you do it? How do you remove your limb that you have to remove?
I think I would try to lose circulation in that area.
So you tie it off?
I would tie it off until like my foot was numb.
Okay. And then you'd what?
I don't
Saw?
know. Whatever was available to I don't know. What's available
Well,
to me.
what's preferred? You're going to do a scalpel and like surgically like do it yourself, or are you just going to go handsaw? Just like saw?
I don't know.
Because I
Liquid
imagine
nitrogen.
you want to limit the amount of blood. So you want it to be as clean as possible, because then you have to also tourniquet.
Well, hypothetically speaking, no matter what you do, you're going to pass out multiple times while you do it.
Because of the pain.
Because your body's going to shut it down.
Yeah. So Amanda, you'd go full leg, or would you just go like foot?
I mean, if I only had to cut off my foot, I would just cut off my foot. But if I had to pick a whole limb,
That's why I asked you, like,
Yeah.
how high up are we talking here? Is
Well,
it the
so,
ankle at
so
the
wait,
knee?
is there a degree here where you're like, ooh, like what? Like
well,
if
I
it's
mean,
just
no, like
foot, you're like,
hypothetically speaking,
I'll survive.
learning to use a prosthetic foot would probably be a lot easier than learning to use a prosthetic entire leg.
Yeah. So at the knee, or the leg's gone from the hip.
Are you giving
I'm
us a
asking
choice?
you your question.
If you're giving us a choice, we're talking ankle here.
Okay, so you're just
If you're giving me a choice, I'm cutting off a pinky toe.
that's
Like,
I mean, that's not a limb, to be fair.
this little piggy went to market.
I'm cutting off as little as possible.
I will say, even though you guys are right about a foot, I think it'd be easier to cut off a hand.
I agree with you on that point.
Yeah.
But I do wonder if I would choose my left hand instead of my left foot,
Yeah.
because I feel like learning to rewalk is a lot harder than learning to use a stub or a hook.
Yeah.
Like,
On that hand.
yeah. Like, yeah, there's a lot of things you do with your hands, so you'd have to find different ways to figure out how to do them. But I think that as somebody who broke their foot recently, I don't want to be immobile.
Right.
So I think I would rather take my hand.
I think I'm there too. I think I'd rather still be able to walk around, because I wouldn't want to have to deal with
and if it was just a hand, I would just chop it.
That's what I was thinking.
Quick.
Because I think I could, if I had my left hand down with enough force with my right hand with like an axe or something, I think I could do it. I think I could do it in one.
I couldn't.
You think you could get through all those bones? in
I
one
think I
clean
could do
shot?
it.
I couldn't.
I think I'd be strong enough. I mean, it has to be sharp, but
I'd make you do it for
I think
me.
I could do it. But I think it would take me multiple hits to get a foot off or a leg or something like that. So I think the hand would be the easiest, personally. Now, who is the guy that got stuck in the tunnel that had to cut his arm off?
I don't remember the guy, but he was played by James Franco in the movie.
Yes,
he was
127 hours.
Yeah, he was stuck. He was like pinned in by a boulder or
Yes,
something when
yes.
he was like rock climbing.
And he
He cut
off
his
at-
fucking arm off with a pocket knife.
with a pocket
His
knife.
name is Aaron Ralston.
And I think it was at the elbow or something like that. I think that's what it was, because he had to break the arm somehow.
I think his arm was already broken due to the boulder falling on it.
Okay. That's wild to me, though. But I imagine he passed out multiple times too, right?
He did.
Yeah, God, dude. That type of experience is terrifying.
Well, and I hate to be this way, but like your arm, he's cutting his arm off. I mean, I get like he had an incredible will to survive, because just the idea of you don't go fast enough, you're going to bleed to death.
Yes, that's
Yeah.
true. Yep.
So that's wild.
I've got one last very, very morbid question.
Okay.
Okay. And I'm going to say this just because I think that this is a very hot topic and that this can be really, really difficult. But the morbid question is, do you feel when people commit suicide that there's a sense of relief right before they do it? Or do you think there's fear the entire time? This is almost like a philosophical question a little bit, just because you're in the face of death at your own hand and not someone else.
I think there's relief.
Really?
Yeah.
I think it depends on the person. Yeah.
I think it would depend on the situation, but I mean, obviously not having ever been there myself, I can only make assumptions, and I can only assume that someone who is going through with all of that probably feels in one way or another so horrible in one way, like so just that this is their only way. I think they probably feel so badly that I wonder if it does feel like, well, it's almost over.
Yeah.
That's what I'm wondering, because you obviously got to the point where you were ready to be done, that there would be a sense of relief in that aspect. Now, I can't relate at all. I've never had these tendencies. I've never felt this way before, but I imagine when it's that route that possibly the eerie sense of joy comes over you, that you don't have to worry about anything anymore.
Well, maybe
know-
not
I don't
joy,
know if
but
joy's
I think
the right
maybe
word.
Joy. I guess you're right.
I would
Joy,
assume
joy
maybe
is the
it's-
wrong word.
Yeah.
No, I know. I would assume maybe it's like the weight's off your shoulders now. Like,
Yeah,
it's kind of like it's done.
I can see that.
I
can see
could
that.
see that.
I don't like that
yeah.
as the last question.
I know, right? Isn't that like leave you like ill?
Well, and
And-
of course you end it with that one, so I can't make some
Feel
goofy
bad.
joke.
It's not.
And what's the number for the suicide prevention?
Yeah, I
it's
was.
96
Well,
bucks.
I mean, and that is always an honest statement. If you,
I don't want to Google it because I don't want anyone to think.
if you
You're
or
gonna end up
anyone
on a
else
list.
is feeling like that, please contact someone. There's people
Yeah.
that love you. But I do imagine that some stories are crazy, especially when someone attempts and it doesn't work. I wonder how they describe the feeling. Do you know what I'm saying?
I mean, so I'm sure it's mixed, because I'm sure some people are relieved
Yeah.
because maybe they realized that wasn't the only option.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm sure some people feel that they failed. But there are some states that will try you for attempted murder.
Yeah.
I've heard about that.
Yeah.
Yes, I have heard about that.
That's bananas to
Not
me.
counting the Lord himself.
Well, depending on what you believe in.
All right. I'll leave you with this one then. Okay.
Oh, goody.
Let's
Goody.
leave you with
Thank you.
that one was a little sad. If you got cut in half with a chainsaw, how would you fall? Do your legs buckle? Does your torso just fall off first? I want to know
Top to bottom or bottom to top?
I'm assuming
Yeah.
you'd be standing up. So you get cut off.
Oh,
Like
sideways.
horizontally.
I was imagining like up the center.
You want like a banana split? Like
Yeah.
it just peeled like
So in my movie fantasy mind,
yes.
I want it to be like in Ghost Ship, where the cable cuts the guy in half and he's still standing for a while. like,
Yeah.
I don't
And
think
then he,
I
like,
don't think your
falls.
legs buckle. I think if it was fast enough,
Uh-huh.
then
Your legs just stand there and
They
your
would.
torso falls off?
yeah.
Really? Because
I think
there's nothing telling your legs to stay.
Cadaveric spasm.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they lock up?
Yeah. they
Okay.
lock up.
Interesting.
I think it would. Yeah, I think your legs would almost like. I think your whole body would just like, and then your torso I think you'd probably just like crumple all at once. Like everything would just kind of like.
I imagine it's like a tree. Like you get cut off and then it's just like your top of your half just goes, just falls.
Yeah, but imagine that tree isn't rooted.
True. So you would have balance. The whole thing would just fall over and then the body would separate, is what you're saying.
Wait, well, how are you?
Like you're standing up.
Yeah.
You're not laying
wait,
down.
Are you talking vertical or horizontal now?
No, no. We're not. We know what happens when you just go zip. It's like a zipper, dude. You just go bleh, like both sides fall. There's too much weight on your arms. It just would come
Yeah, but
down.
what if you go top down?
I still think the same thing. You would still have a separation just
you'd
due
still
to
zip.
gravity.
You don't think
it would
that
still
you would
go bleh.
fall over sooner because you can't maintain your balance?
Well, maybe. I mean, maybe just with no brain.
You get halfway and then they're just like, darn it.
Oh, dang
It's
it.
a lot more difficult now.
I imagine horizontal. Okay, we're skipping the vertical
And we're
situation.
at the waist.
The top of the body just stays, and then the legs fall off, and then blood just falls.
Yeah, it's like a
body.
cartoon.
Yes. Like, I want to say there's a scene in Predator 2 where Predator cuts the guy in half and he like the legs fall and then you just see blood like come down and then the body falls.
I think there's a horror movie. I think, what is it? There is a horror movie where somebody is like holding a guy's head and he like cuts him in half. And you see like bleh, all come out of his like abdomen.
Actually,
shit, that's gonna bother me.
Actually, Amanda, 13 Ghosts, when Matthew Lillard's character dies from the glass, but it cuts him in the middle of his body.
I was going to say,
Yeah.
it also depends on how good this chainsaw man is.
Oh, I'm assuming.
Yes.
I'm assuming this chainsaw person is very quick.
Yeah, this is
Because-
surgical
But
chainsaw.
what if they're not?
Surgical chainsaw.
Then it's like, yep. And then they get
Yeah.
stuck and then they quit and they turn the chainsaw off.
They think they're good.
Honestly,
and then they hit the spine and they're like, oh,
That's,
crap.
I was gonna say, like, the minute the chainsaw hits your spine or your ribs or even like
Yeah.
a lot of fat,
Got to be hard
it
to
would
cut.
just fully get stuck.
Yeah, and then the whole body would he'd be like, "Dang it!" and you'd be trying to like
And then
you're trying to kick the body off and pull the chainsaw
Also,
out
like-
to start again.
Yeah,
I mean, there's side to side or there's front to back. Those could have different.
You never
reactions.
go front
True.
to back. Wait, no, back to front. I said it wrong. Dang it. Ladies, that's all I got for morbid questions
Wow.
with the Real Awkward Podcast.
People
Oh,
are
boy.
gonna. I don't know how people are gonna feel about this one.
You think people are gonna agree with some of our answers, or do you think people are gonna be like, "You guys are messed up"? Unfollow.
I mean, whatever.
that one.
I mean, come on. These questions they're important to life, right? You have to know how you're going to cut someone in half.
Things. We gotta talk about hard things
You do.
sometimes.
You do. Amanda, where can people tell us we're too morbid for them?
You can come hang out with us at our Instagram at Raw Awkward Podcast. If we are too morbid for you, sorry about it.
Don't listen to the other half of our
then don't.
episodes.
Yeah. We also have a TikTok at Raw Awkward Podcast. We also have a Patreon, $3 a month, get you exclusive episodes. Patreon.com/Real Awkward Podcast.
What was that song again?
A Papa Midnight, a Papa Midnight, a Papa Midnight.
All right, guys, have a wonderful spooky season, and we'll talk to you later.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Hello, Real Awkward listeners. The Real Awkward Podcast turns 3 this year. That's right, 3 years of fun, entertaining content for you guys, and we cannot do it without listeners like you. If you guys want to support the show, head over to patreon.com/Real Awkward Podcast. For $3 a month, that gets you access to exclusive shows, merchandise, and name shoutouts on the show. We also will take your suggestions for show topics. Thank you so much for 3 years, and we look forward to many more.